Hey again everyone, and welcome back to the next video of the next car review. So I decided to review something different, something like an Asian sports car that's built for pretty exciting and fun to drive, and it can be driven daily with a good segment value, and of course it's reliable. Today, I bring you the Nissan 370Z Nismo, and this car is the track suit-up version of the regular 370Z. It's a bit more powerful, a lot of outdated stuff though. Even the car itself is outdated. But in general, let's be honest, the Nissan 370Z hasn't really evolved or changed all that much since the year of 2009. Only minor changes that can be barely noticeable to Z fans through over 10 years of its production run. Here's everything you need to know about this Nissan 370Z Nismo, about why this car is a good investment for non-driving or driving enthusiasts. Now let's start with a quick overview of the 370Z. The Nissan 370Z made its debut for the 2009 model year and rolled off the line as a coupe with a 3.7-liter naturally aspirated V6 engine that only made about 332 horsepower, succeeding the infamous 350Z. Although the 370Z was announced a couple years earlier before they unveiled the car worldwide and marked the last generation of the Nissan Z with the naturally aspirated engine with a V6 combined with a manual transmission. 2009 was also the year that marked the 40th anniversary of the Z since the original Fairlady in 1969, and then Nissan made the 50th anniversary edition of the 370Z in 2019. The 370Z was in production for 12 years. It's been that long since, it took up most of my childhood for 12 years, from 2008 to 2020, and came with 3 versions: the standard coupe, and then you had the roadster version, and then there was the super sporty Nismo. This particular car is the 2020 model with just a few adjustments from the regular model and was the last iteration model before ending production for 2020. The 370Z Nismo is a tuned sports car of the ultimate Nissan performance that offers a unique, thrilling, and genuine sense of driving. The engine underneath the hood is tuned by Nismo and it has a red cover that carries almost 20 more horsepower than the regular Nissan 370Z, producing 350 brake horsepower and 276 pound-feet of torque, and the same engine that works with a 6-speed manual transmission, or you can get this car with a 7-speed automatic. This car comes rear-wheel drive just like all 370Zs, and the car weighs about 3,200 pounds. And this car can accelerate from 0 to 60 miles per hour in just about almost 5 seconds, and the top speed is electronically limited to 155 miles per hour. But don't let that fool you, because technically the 370Z is capable of way more top speed that can reach past 160 miles per hour on stock. Sounds quite good enough for an average day sports car. This car has an improved suspension for competition. Also with the Nismo you get the massive brakes with bigger and wider tires, and the race suspension helps to decrease travel in limited body roll, and the brake helps improves the good friction and better braking, and the wide tires for extra grip of handling. The front of the 370Z is slightly aggressive. Despite its age, this car is very sexy and beautiful in my opinion. Still looks good to this day even though it's 12 to 13 years old. Now in terms of the styling, the black front grille appears very aggressive looking and has a Nismo logo that emphasizes the Nissan's ultimate driving experience, and also appears on the back of the trunk in a weird, unique triangular style headlamps with LED daytime running lights on the bottom and red accents on the front bumper. They appear on the side skirts, you got the red accents on the mirrors, and also the back bumper to signal what you expect that it is a high performance suit up version of the car. Then the side of the car, the wheels are completely different than the regular 370Z. They are much bigger and have 19-inch rims and features a two-tone stylish silver color. Then the rear of the car, the exterior does look old still, but the car features wide fenders and a rear diffuser, and a cool thing to mention, it has a rain light in the middle bottom of the back of the car to accommodate so that when you're driving in this car in the rain or any wet weather period, the light will flash off and on every single time. This is the same element that you will find mostly on modern Ferraris that does the same sequence. But pause, there's a problem. Unfortunately, with this Nismo version, this rain light at the bottom of the back bumper is fake. It's not real. It doesn't even function. It's just a prop for stylishing to make this car look even cool. Why would Nissan implement a rain light at the back of this bumper if you're going to drive in the wet weather and it doesn't even function? It doesn't even flash off and on. I guess they have it for their own purpose, but that's pretty odd for Nissan for them to do that, and it doesn't make sense to me. But it's there to be cool, to make the car look unique, but it would have been even cooler if the light was functional. Except you have the aftermarket those. Next up is the hump big wing mounted on the trunk for the Nismo package in different rates from the regular model, and the two big exhausts at the bottom. I got to say, this car looks good in white, it looks good in silver, then in the color red in my opinion. Now, with that enough said with the specifications, we jump inside of the car's interior of the 370Z Nismo, and you can tell when you hop in that a lot of stuff in here is really outdated. There's a lot of plastic, there's a lot of old school stuff. It's not really up to date in 2021. But first, we start with the gauge clusters behind the steering wheel. The big 3 gauge clusters are just basic, like the original 370Z. The center red tachometer is shining red around it, letting you know that you are in a Nismo. Now, to make things clear, one thing I could say they could have improved with the gauge cluster is add a configuration display in the center between the 2 gauge cluster and get rid of all the old analog gauge cluster and instead make them LCD display like it's most other competitive rivals that has them. Now, the recall seats were built to hug you and provide a sporty feel and good comfort, and the seats are comfortable, and they have a contrasting red color and grippy Alcantara, firm bolsters, and a recall logo, of course. The interior is outfitted with red signature accents everywhere of Nismo. You have it on the steering wheel, you have it on the gauge cluster in the center, then you have it on the seats, and you also have it on the dashboard and even also on the floor, which is even cool to suit up this car to make it even more aggressive and more suit up. Everything is easily reached and operated. Center console controls are shaped to be identifiable by touch. The infotainment screen is also outdated, very small and non-touchable, unlike most other sports cars that have touchable screens. This is also another disappointing feature, is that we are in 2021 and Nissan 370Z, I feel like Nissan could have done so much a little bit better with the interiors. Make the screen, infotainment screen, a little bit more functionality and touchable. And while most other competitive rivals are beating it with technology, this one falls behind about almost 10 years. The center old school buttons of climate controls and radio knobs, and the right of the steering wheel there is a start stop button to initiate the engine, and you have this 6-speed old school H pattern stick shift, a single cup holder, and then all you get is a storage unit in the center console. The 370Z interior makes you feel completely connected the instant you sit down in the Nismo, and there's a lot of plastic and outdated techniques that you would expect more of this car like other sports car. But face it, it's a sports car. It's not meant to be luxury, it's not meant to be too comfortable, but they could have done so much a little bit better with the 370Z Nismo, or the 370Z period. Now, the practicality is not that great either, but face it, it's a sports car, like I said. The storage space in the cabin is not that big to fit amount of stuff in. Every 370Z and this Nismo only contains about 6.9 cubic feet of trunk space, which is one of the smallest in the sports car class, so you wouldn't find it very usable that much for shopping, like grocery shopping, due to the sloping roof line that goes down to prevent putting a lot of stuff inside the 370Z. On the performance side though, it's really an excellent sports car that delivers great performance compared to your average daily sedan or SUV. This Nismo has a beautiful sounding V6 and handles corners well and gives the driver a fun and enjoyable experience without being too comfortable or luxurious. Like most other Nissan cars that are easy to maintain and won't rack up high maintenance and repair costs, the 370Z is like the little sibling of Godzilla R35 GTR, except it's all-wheel drive, more powerful, more expensive, and more technology, and a twin-turbo V6, while the 370Z is naturally aspirated and has less technology and slower but fun to drive. But despite that it has a lot of fun factor with aging features, a V6 engine only pushing about 350 brake horsepower, the price tag is between 45 to 50k, which is a little overpriced for an outdated sports car that really hasn't changed all that much to update it to more modern interior styles and materials, when there are plenty other sports cars that you can buy cheaper that has much nicer interiors, like newer Mazda Miata, for example, the Subaru BRZ, or something American muscle like a V8 powered Camaro or a Mustang that has more power and a little bit more technology in it than the 370Z. In the meantime, while the 370Z is discontinued, there is a successor on the way that's going to be probably better than the 370Z, and we already know. Nissan revives the Z car legacy of the 400Z with the 3-liter twin-turbo V6 from the Infiniti Q60 that's supposed to be making 400 horsepower and replacing one of the oldest sports cars in the market, 370Z. The 400Z supposedly shows a great styling throwback from the original Fairlady Z based on the rear end of the car, and the side profile is a mixture of all the generation of Zs. The 400Z is the first Z in the 21st century in a long time from the factory to have twin turbos since the 1990s 300ZX. It will potentially go on sale in the United States this time in spring of 2021 or sometime this year as for the 2022 model year. Now I have to say, the 400Z looks very interesting and very promising, and hopefully it has a better interior than the outgoing 370Z. And once it becomes available in virtual reality for me to review it, it will be very interesting. And the new 400Z looks really cool. So that was the end car review of the Nissan 370Z Nismo, and I hope you guys really did enjoy this video. If you did, don't forget to hit that like button. I really much appreciate it, and I will see you next time for some more car reviews in the next video. And you are more than welcome to give me any car suggestions. But without further ado, let's jump inside of the Nissan 370Z Nismo and let's put the keys into the ignition and start the engine. Peace out, and adjust your headphone volumes for headphone users.